Hello and welcome back to Wireman's Whimsy. This is our first alternate card using elements from the November 2024 Paper Pumpkin Kit. So for this one, I'm using the stamps from the kit, and I'm also using a piece for the stocking. I've got a very vanilla card base. I've got a 5 by 3 3/4 piece of cherry cobbler that I've run through the distress tile folder. And I'm going to show you how I did this. I started out in basic gray, but it kind of didn't really jump. So I moved over to cherry cobbler. So what I've done is I've taken a piece, like I say, I've cut the stockings apart. I don't really need the little stockings, so I thought I'd use them. So I'm just using my piercing tool to just fray the edge a little bit so that we've got that soft edge. And if you want it to be perfectly straight, you can kind of trim up the edges after you do this. I'm just going with the weave of the fabric as I cut it. If I was quilting, I would absolutely square everything up, but this isn't a quilt. And it's got a little bit of whimsy to it, so I'm just going to keep pulling those away. The reason I'm doing this first before I stamp is because when you're stamping on fabric, sometimes it takes the ink just that little bit longer to dry, and I don't want to smear it, smudge it, and basically get it all over the place. So I'm just pulling out a couple of threads and then just unweaving them essentially. So there we go. So this is what we end up with, and I'll just put it on here so you might be able to see it a little bit better. So we've just got the fringe all the way around the edge. So I'm going to stamp this. I'm going to let it dry, and then I'm going to do some other stamping. So, like I say, we're using cherry cobbler because it jumps just that little bit more. So I'm inking up my stamp, and I'm placing it towards the top, but in the middle. And then just pressing down. So I'm left with the image. And then sending lots of cheer, I'm just popping down at the bottom like that. Now, what I'm going to do, this is a 5 by 3 3/4 mat, so it leaves me a border all the way around the edge. I'm going to use the dots and dashes, and I'm just going to go around the edge, just adding a little bit of interest. And again, I may not be the straightest because I'm not right over the work. But I'm just going to add these around the edge just because that kind of empty space was just a little bit too blank for me. So obviously you can draw a pencil line and follow your pencil line if you want to. However you'd like to do it. It's just a little bit of detail around the edge. And then just putting that card base in the middle. The mat, sorry. This is the card base, this is the mat. So then just, again, this is a 3D folder, so I'm putting adhesive all the way around the edge, and then lining this up and pressing it down. So it just gives us that little bit of detail. And again, the pieces that are a little bit crooked, they could be straighter, but I'm kind of just winging this. This, I'm going to put adhesive across the back, and it doesn't run super well, so you got to go really slowly to get that adhesive going. And then we're just popping it down on the card front like that. And you can see I've got ink on my surface, so you might want to put a spare piece of paper or something underneath when you're inking because the ink does flow through. So that is our first alternate card using elements from the November 2024 Paper Pumpkin Kit. So stay tuned for one more alternate every day this week.